Hello everyone, this is Rajeshwari, Assistant Professor, Department of English. Today we will discuss a poem, Break, Break, Break. It's written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. First, let's see about the poet. Alfred Lord Tennyson, who was born in the year 1809 and died in the year 1892. Tennyson was the poet laureate. Laureate means a poet who is officially appointed by a government expected to compose poems for special events or occasions. And Tennyson was one of the most popular British poets who was awarded the Chancellor's Gold Medal in the year 1829 at Cambridge for one of his first pieces, Timbuktu. Timbuktu is actually his poem. The best known poems, The Charge of the Light Brigade, Crossing the Bar, and In Memoriam. Let's see about the poem. Tennyson's poem Break, 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 it's written during the early 1835. It's published in 1842. This poem is actually an elegy. Elegy is a song or poem of lamentation or lamenting over the death of someone who's close to the heart. Here, Tennyson has written this elegy, Break, 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 for his close friend or his fellow poet, Arthur Henry Hallam. That is his friend's name. Here we can see how he expresses his feelings of loss of his friend. He has written this poem 2 years after the death of his friend. Actually, he died of stroke at the age of 22. Let's see the poem. First stanza. Break, break, break on thy cold grey stones, O sea, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. The poet himself is the speaker of the poem. When the poem begins, the poet is standing on the rocky seashore and addresses the waves of the sea, the waves which continuously crashing against the rock face. The speaker's mind or heart is filled with the thoughts of memory of his close friend, and he yearns to express those feelings through words, but he couldn't. Though he really wishes to express his feelings, he is not able to do so. He stands on the seashore with a heavy heart. Stanza 2. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh, well for the sailor lad that he sings in his boat on the bay. When the poet, that is the speaker, looks around him, everything seems to be normal. There, the fisherman's boy plays with his sister joyfully, and a young sailor who is singing in his boat. The people around him live happily. When the poet looks around him, everything is just quite normal, natural, except our poet. Stanza 3. And the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill, but oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. The impressive ships moving on to the destination without any obstacle. But our poet, who is bearing the past thoughts of his friend, is unable to move on internally. The speaker is longing for the presence of his friend and who is craving for listening the voice of his friend. But the presence is vanished forever and the sound of his voice has gone silent forever. Here, nothing distracts the poet's memory. His memory is filled with his feelings of loss and isolation. And stanza 4, the last stanza of our poem. Break, break, break at the foot of the crags or sea, but the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me. In the last stanza, again, the speaker calls out to the waves, which breaks or crashes the steep rock face at the edge of the sea. The happy and joyful days which he spent with his friend Arthur Henry Hallam has gone forever. Arthur Henry Hallam is dead, which has gone forever, and those beautiful and pleasant days will never come back to him. He cannot experience those happy days, those happiness again in his life. But here, really, he wishes to feel the same happy days or memorable days of his friend again along with him. But he is unable to accept the fact that his friend has gone forever. He is not able to believe the fact that his friend is no more. Let's see a short analysis of this poem. In that analysis, you can see the themes of this poem also. Major themes of this poem are loss and impermanence, the difficulty of moving on. Apart from these themes, there are some other themes also, like love, friendship, the depth of friendship actually. Okay, let's come to the analysis. In a nutshell, we can say that this poem carries the emotional impact of a person reflecting on the loss of someone, that is, someone who is close to the heart or someone who is cared for. We can see these themes in this analysis. Throughout this poem, we have seen that the description of the poet's feelings of loss. Here, the speaker, who is unable to accept the fact that his close friend or his fellow poet is no more. The external world around him is normal, moving on as usual, but our poet's or the speaker's internal world is overfilled with the memories of his friend or the days which he spent along with his friend. We can also see a biographical connection containing Tennyson's feelings of melancholy and nostalgia. A clear expression of personal grief and sorrow is evident here in this poem. The poet compares the external world with his own internal world. Everything seems just normal in the external world. The fisherman's boy plays with his sister joyfully, young sailor who sings in his boat, and the ship's moving to its destinations. But the speaker alone who stands on the rocky seashore, longing for the presence of his lost friend, who stands there with a heavy heart. We can see the concept or theme of loss and impermanence here in the poem. As a human being, we cannot say that we will have everything every time. For example, when a person moves from his childhood to adolescence, he loses his childhood. Then, when he moves from adolescence to middle age, he or she loses his adolescence or her adolescence. So, nothing is permanent in this world. A poet who feels very difficulty to move on from his sadness to the present day. So, that's all about this poem. Hope you all understood. Thank you.